Hello and welcome back to Attiny85. In this video, I'm going to show you how to make this very mystical fairy light tree with using an Attiny85 microcontroller and using a few wires and some fairy lights. Let's get started. And these are the items that you're going to need to make for this project. The items you're going to need is 3 bundles of fairy lights, a 4.5 volt battery pack, which is 3 AA batteries. You're also going to need an 8-pin IC socket holder, a push button lock switch, a Perfboard, 3 30-ohm resistors, some thick copper gauge wire, and you're also going to need an Attiny85 microcontroller, which will then control the entire circuit. Now, let's go ahead and assemble this project, and let's get started. First, I'm going to take the sandpaper and remove the insulation on these fairy lights. There we go, remove the insulation, and now make a quick test to see if it works. And there, it works. I'm also making this test so that way I know which wire is positive and which wire is negative. So far, this wire right here is the negative wire. I'm going to take this Sharpie and blacken the wire so that way I know this wire is negative. And now repeat the same process with the other 2 strands of fairy lights. I'm going to start with these 2 items. I'm going to start with this thick copper gauge wire and form it into some type of tree, which will then bend into a unique shape and stick on top of this battery pack. So I'm going to go ahead and take some of this wire out and stretch out to some desired lengths and bend it around. In this sped up footage, I'm going to show you how to step by step assemble this tree. Next, I'm going to take some hot glue and put it on the base of this battery pack so that way I can place in the first wire. Put the wire in just like this. Put some more hot glue. And now repeat the same process with the second wire. And now the same thing again with the third wire. And as you can see, I have these 3 wires sticking out, and what I need to do is I need to twist them together to create the tree trunk. Twist them together just like this, and leave the 3 branches sticking out, and bend the wires around just like this to give them a natural look. And what I want to do now is I want to add some more wire to these tree branches to give it some more branches. Carefully remove the insulation. Cut off a piece of the insulation and expose some of the wire. And now I want to solder tin the exposed wire. And now take the extra wire, solder tin it, and then solder it to the exposed wire, just like this. And there, now I've created a new branch. And now I want to bend it to give it more of a natural look. Cut off some of the excess, and there, a new branch. And now I want to repeat the same process with adding more branches. And now all of the branches are soldered into place, and now I'm going to take this fairy light and wrap it around each branch. I'm going to take some super glue and the fairy lights. Take the first LED of the fairy light and place it on the tip of the tree. Put a little bit of super glue. Clamp it down. Spray some activator, glue it into place. And there, glued into place. And now take the fairy light strand and wrap it around tightly. And each time I wrap it down to an LED, I'm going to glue it into place. Doing that will prevent the LED light strand from unspooling. And now continue wrapping and repeat the same process. And now what I've done here is I wrapped it up in this direction, and now I repeat the same process by wrapping it on itself, going down the other direction. The whole idea is to get the fairy light strand in to meet down to the bottom of the tree. Doing that will attach it to the circuit. And there we go, the fairy light strand is now complete. Wrap around the bottom strand around the trunk, following the same direction as the tree trunk, and the ends of these wires will attach to the circuit. Make a quick test to make sure it all works. And there, she'll look just like this. Perfect. And now repeat the same process with the other two fairy light strands. And what I'm doing right here is cutting off some of the excess because the fairy light strand is too long. Now I'm going to take some sandpaper, remove the insulation, and mark it to know which is negative, and attach it to the Perfboard. Next I'm going to take the 8-pin IC socket holder and place it into the Perfboard. Place it in the center, just like this. Clamp it down. Solder one pin into place. Press down the IC socket holder and remelt the solder. And there, now the IC socket holder is flush with the board. And now solder in the rest of the pins. Next I'm going to take the push button lock switch and place it next to pin 8. Solder it into place, and then solder bridge one of the pins from the push button lock switch to pin 8. Next I'm going to take these 330 ohm resistors and connect them to pin 5, 6, and 7. First I'm going to bend the leads, place that one onto pin 5. Bend the two leads over, just like this. Solder one lead into place, and solder bridge it to pin 5. Cut off the excess. And then cut off the excess on that one, but a little bit longer, just like that. And now, repeat the same process 2 more times by connecting it to 6 and 7. And there, it should look just like this. Next, I'm going to take the 3-volt button cell battery, make a quick test to make sure I'm correct on that polarity. So far, I am. I want to connect all of the negative wires to pin 4. I want to connect each positive wire from each fairy light strand to each resistor, which connects to pin 5, 6, and 7. The first negative soldered into place, and now the second one, and finally the third, and now solder the first positive wire to pin 5. Solder bridge it to the resistor, and there, repeat the same process 2 more times. And there, all 3 of the fairy light strands are now connected to the circuit. Next, I'm going to take this negative wire from the battery pack and connect it to the common ground, which is over at pin 4. And there, the battery is now connected to the ground. And now take the positive wire from the battery pack and make a quick test to make sure each LED strand works. Pin 7 works. Pin 6 works. And now pin 5 works. Next, I'm going to take that same wire and connect it to the push button lock switch. Bend over the lead to the push button lock switch. Solder it into place, and now solder bridge it to the push button lock switch. And there, connected just like that. And now I'm going to place the Attiny85 microcontroller into the IC socket holder. Place it in just like this. And there, the circuit is now complete. Next, I'm going to take some hot glue and insulate the circuit and glue the circuit onto the tree. There we go, just like that, and glue down the wires as well, so that way it looks more tidy. And there you have it, the project is now complete. Let's make a quick test in the dark. As you can see, this looks very nice in the dark. And as you can see, the LEDs are now flickering ever so lightly. This code here is the candlelight flame, which I've done in previous projects. And the code is in the link in the description below. And there, this tree looks very mystical. And very beautiful and very relaxing. Unfortunately, that one strand does not match the other 2 strands, but I didn't realize that until now. But that's okay, still looks good. And there you have it. Now you know how to make your very own fairy light tree with using an Attiny85 microcontroller and a few simple components. And there you have it. Thank you for watching SciTech. I hope you learned something new, and don't forget to like and subscribe, and of course click on the bell icon to be notified for future SciTech videos. To the next tech, goodbye.